Welcome back to JB Reviews. I think I found the perfect truck for full-time RV living. And I'm not basing that on just the fact that this is a Ram Cummins Eisen transmission truck. I'm also basing it on the fact of a few other things which we'll go over in this video. And at the end, maybe I'll find a fifth wheel that I've done a review on, and we could use it to see how much capacity you will have left over once you add the trailer, your gear, and your family. Let's get into it. I did get this truck from Larry H. Miller in Sandy, Utah, so be sure to check these guys out in their inventory. But here's the window sticker for the particular truck we're going to be reviewing. This is the base price, and down below is some of the standard equipment, so be sure to pause it if you want to see more. And then starting off, the options is that billet silver and a sport appearance, which continues at the top. And then here's a few other things: level A equipment group, and then this does have the high output Cummins 50-gallon fuel tank and 8.4-inch display with navigation. And then destination comes in at $1,895 with a total price of $78,915. Now, believe it or not, billet silver is a great color to use on the road because silver does hide dirt, scratches, all that good stuff. So I would recommend, if you are in the market, this is a great setup here for if you don't really want to wash your truck that much. And it looks amazing. This is a premium color, so it does have a little bit of metallic flake to it, and you can really see that as you walk up to it. 18-inch wheels, and this is going to be a Firestone Transforce tire, LT 275 7018. And here's some of the capacities. Now, I would recommend, if you are looking for the setup, upgrade these tires as soon as you get it, with 3,640 pounds of capacity at 80 psi's. Solid front axle. And that's really good, I think, for towing too. I think it helps with stability overall. There's a light here on the mirror. And check out the setup here. One thing I like about Ram is you do have the option to power that convex. Now, this truck doesn't have it, but if you do plan on building a truck from the factory, you can add that as an option on this truck. Alrighty, so I changed cameras because the wind is starting to pick up, but do notice how your door handles are painted. Now, as you guys saw on the window sticker, this does have a optional 50-gallon fuel tank. That is huge if you plan on traveling full time. I strongly recommend, if you are building a truck, get that option. You only can get it on the long bed, whether it be single rear wheel or dually. And if you are looking at a 1-ton, you do get leaf springs out back. There is an option to get that air suspension. However, if your trailer is only putting about 3,000 pounds of weight on the truck, you don't really need the air suspension, but it is a nice added benefit to the truck. Now, you notice you have that sport badge, which easily gets peeled off if you don't like it. And then out back, painted bumper. And you would think that this tailgate is assisted. However, you may have to option that on this truck, so it will just plop down if you open this one. They do provide a 4-pin now for the fifth wheel prep package. In the past it did not, and you do have that 7-pin, and your fifth wheel prep package is already here. So this one doesn't have a spray-in bed liner, which is probably a good thing because obviously that would add weight to this truck. So that's what I like about this one too, is you do have some weight savings on this build. And as you guys know, this fifth wheel prep package is built into the frame, and it's really, really reliable. And of course, it's covered under the factory warranty. Now, the tailgate is super light on this truck, even though it's not assisted. And out back, you do have a backup camera, and you can probably see those LED lights down below too. And that's going to be for your conventional hitch. This is a class 5 receiving hitch, so it's going to have a 2.5-inch opening, and it provides the 4 and 7-pin connectors. I would like to note that LED lights are used for the license plate lights. I know it's a small thing, but a lot of the manufacturers don't do that from the factory unless you go to a higher trim level typically. Parking sensors out back, and keep in mind, Bighorn is a step up from a tradesman, so there's a lot of cool features. Incandescent bulbs out back too for the tail lights. And then check out this billet silver in the shade. It looks really good. So why would you pick this Cummins and Eisen transmission for full-time RVing? is 100% because this engine and this transmission absolutely loves to be under load. Nothing makes this engine and transmission happier than feeling that it has 15,000 pounds plus behind it. And you literally can hear this engine come to life. No other engine in this segment does what the Cummins does. Like, it literally sounds different. And you know that it likes to be under load because when you're unloaded, the transmission, like, it gives it to you and you're behind. I'm just telling you right now, it's a little harsh for the most part. Now, I will say for 2022, they have done some updates to make it a lot more livable day to day. But when I had my 2019, like, it would sock it to you. But this is going to be good for 420 horsepower, 1,075 pound-feet of torque. Right now, currently for 2022, it's still the leader in torque, but unfortunately, the horsepower does fall short with the other two. And even though it's a 6-speed transmission, the AS69RC, this is a very reliable transmission. That's why I think this is the best setup for full-time RVing, because not only do you get a 5-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, but you probably will never use it if you keep this truck maintained. The Aisin transmission is built in Japan and it's owned by a company, or I think it's owned by Toyota with another company too. I can't remember who it is, but trust me when I say this, this is the best truck for towing. Now, obviously, this truck does not have leather seats and all the nice amenities, the 12-inch display. It is available with a 12-inch display if you want a bighorn, though. This is the perfect truck to beat up on. Like, you don't really care as much when you have cloth seats, but when you have leather seats, you feel like you have to wipe them down and all that stuff. You don't have to do that in this bighorn. And this interior looks great. You still have a power seat, as you saw on the window sticker, that came available under a package. But power windows, power door locks do come standard on this truck, power mirrors, and it does still have push button start too. Now, something I do like when the headrest tilt. This is something I never noticed before, but now that I don't have it on my GMC, I've noticed I don't have this function. But yeah, you literally have lumbar support. You can control the back of the seat and the front of the seat for control, and you do have power pedals down below. So there's a lot of ways you can get comfortable in this truck. And like I said, the overall styling is pretty dang good. Automatic headlights, and as you guys saw, you have fog lights. And this one does have the 7-inch cluster, which I'll show you one of my other reasons why I love the Ram 3500 for towing. But let's go ahead and jump in here. I'm going to show you a few things, and we will start to go over all the numbers on the door here. All right, let's go ahead and start it up. Fun fact, Ram Cummins diesels do not have glow plugs anymore. They have grid heaters. A lot of people don't know that. And let's go back up real quickly. I wanted to show you a couple things in here. Here's the vehicle information tab. So right here, this is what sets Ram apart. They have the best layout of all. Now, if you do have a dually, it would show it for all 6 tires, but this is your tire pressure monitoring system. Coolant, transmission temp, oil pressure, boost pressure. This is going to be for your DPF. The other two don't show this, and they should, because if you're not towing a lot, like let's just say you're staying somewhere a little bit longer and you're doing a lot more city driving, unloaded, you'll start to see this get filled up over time. So I like to see this so that way you know to get back on the road or on the highway for about at least 20 to 30 minutes to get that DPF cleared out. And oil and fuel filter life, battery voltage. The other two don't have this, and this is proof that Ram has the strongest exhaust brake because they show you a gauge for it. And here's my favorite. This is the gauge summary. When it's 100 degrees outside, this is super important. And the reason why is because your truck's gonna work a lot harder when it's a lot hotter outside. So I like that they give you everything in one spot. This is huge for me. And you have your engine hours. I do like that they break up the idle and the drive, and then they give you a total. And the only thing I would like to see from all three is a temperature for the tires, because that might be important too when it's really hot outside. The next thing I want to show you is the gear limiter. This is obviously going to be very important for towing, so we're going to put it in drive. And let's just go ahead and hit down on the negative. So that's how you turn this on. Even if you're driving, you hit down on negative and it'll basically keep you in whatever gear you're in. But what you can do is you can basically lock the gear into wherever you want it at. So if you don't want to go into 6th gear, let's just say you're climbing a lot of grades and you need that power, you want to lock out 6. That's what this is going to be used for. And the way that you turn it off is you hold down the plus sign and it'll go away. Now let's go ahead and step over here. This is your Uconnect 5, great system. And as you guys saw, it had heated seats and a heated steering wheel because of the options that were chosen for this truck. It does have navigation, but we're gonna go to vehicle info because I wanna show you guys the trailering. All right, so you can set up 4 trailers, but for your main one, you need to set up your brakes. So for your trailer brakes, you have light electric and heavy electric. The difference here is basically if your trailer is under 10,000 pounds, you're gonna hit light electric. If you hit heavy, it's for trailers that are over 10,000 pounds, okay? And as you guys can see, they now have a tow nav. Interesting. So we'll come back to that because they didn't have that earlier this year and I was trying to find it. So we'll come back to that here in a second. But trailer brakes right here. And it's really easy to set up, as you guys saw. And you can change the gain on it too. And it does show up here in the screen. And it shows you the percentage of brakes that you're using as well. And exhaust brake, tow haul mode is going to obviously make the towing experience so much better. That's why you buy a diesel. So I'm trying to see how you use the navigation. If you hit drive, I just use this random address that I remembered. Let's let it do its thing. Hold on one second. So the address is in. If you hit options, I don't see where you could set up for your trailer. So here's what I think you have to do.
You will arrive at your destination at 9:55 p.m.
I'm assuming you probably have to have a trailer connected to the 4 or the 7 pin. Let's see if we go here. Yeah, see, nothing happened. So it's probably something you set up with the trailer hooked up. So if I have a chance, maybe I'll actually deal with if I can plug into one of my 7 pins. That way we could see how this works. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't use this right now. But let's keep moving on. As you guys have seen in many of my videos, this does have the 6-passenger. I won't take too much more time in the interior. Go back and watch some of the other videos. I will put one at the end of this one for an interior view. But like I said, I want to go ahead and move on here. But tons of storage. Love the fact that RAM gives you all of the USBs, an additional Type A in here, and there is storage under this seat, by the way. So what's cool about the crew cab is they do give you these little cubbies in the floors. There are air vents down below, and there's still a 60/40 bench. So if you do have a large dog, you can set them on that side since that's the larger part of the seat. You can put that seat up, and then they have these trays here to keep them nice and comfortable. And you can also sleep back here too. So if you are looking at a Ram, this truck does have some great tow numbers. So here are some of them. This is going to be the gross axle weight rating up front. It's going to be 6,000 pounds. The rear is going to be 7,000 pounds, and the GVWR is raised from the short bed Ram 3500 crew cab from 11.8 to 12.3 to give you more capacity. So that's going to increase your payload capacity, which is 4,041 pounds. So this having the high output Cummins, the Eisen transmission is a lot heavier than a 6.8 RFE, so you do lose a little bit of payload because of that option, but 4,000 pounds is huge. Now let's go ahead and look at the tow numbers online, and then I'm going to show you guys a fifth wheel that I would recommend for this truck. I'm on Ram's website, and I used a VIN to get the max towing capacity for this truck. So for a single rear wheel, they're saying that you can tow up to 25,000 pounds. Now, I wish the truck had maybe like 800 or 900 pounds more payload, because you probably would be able to get at least to 20,000 pounds, but you're going to see what I'm talking about here in a second. But I also pulled this on Ram's website so you can see what the gross combined weight rating, that's going to be truck and trailer.
And it does show you some of the other numbers I showed you on the door sticker. And moving on, obviously we're going to look at fifth wheels today. I'm going to use a fifth wheel hitch for this example, and this is going to be the Kurt, and it is rated for 20,000 pounds gross, and figure about 5,000 pounds of pin weight. And here's how much the fifth wheel hitch weighs. Up next is going to be the fifth wheel. We're going to use a 2023 Jayco Eagle 319 MLOK. And here is the layout of this fifth wheel. It's about 37 foot rounded off. And here's some of the specifications. So dry, this trailer is about 10,830 pounds. And then the dry hitch weight is 2,020 with the gross fuel weight rating going to be 12,995. So that's the maximum weight this trailer can be going down the road. Here's some of the options. So just keep in mind that some of these things can increase the weight of your hitch weight. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your numbers. But in this case here, if you take 2,020 pounds and divide it into the unloaded weight, that's going to give you basically 19%. So just keep that in mind when we do the calculations. Because this is a couples trailer, I did a husband at 200 pounds and a wife at 135. And I figured with the fifth wheel hitch at 203 pounds and a few other things inside of the truck and inside the bed, it's a long bed truck, so you can get a lot of stuff even with the fifth wheel hooked up. I figured about 500 pounds. So that's 835 pounds in total. So if you subtract this number from your payload, that's going to give you 3,206 pounds of available payload. So in this case here, as I've always said in other videos, nobody goes camping unloaded. So you have to understand that propane tanks and batteries are never included in those dry weights. So those things are typically up front, and so that's going to increase your pin weight. So what I would venture to say, I'm going to use 12,800 pounds that you see here, and then I'm going to multiply that by 21% because they use 19% dry. I figure you add 2% to that. I figure that should be a fair number. So that's going to give you 2,688 pounds of pin weight. So all in all, you still have a good amount of capacity here. So if you wanted to add an additional fuel tank, you should be able to have enough capacity to do that. But in my opinion, once you start getting into the North Point fifth wheels from Jayco, I would definitely probably step up to a dually, because I was going to use one of those, the lightest one that they had, and this is one of my favorite fifth wheels. This is one of the best ones to use for full timing, but I used this one right here. But the problem is the dry hitch weight is around 2,500 pounds, so you probably could get away with using a Gooseneck or your Anderson fifth wheel hitch, but you won't be able to put much stuff in the bed. So if you want these bigger trailers, I just think that wide body, if it's wide body, I would just go ahead and say, go ahead and jump into a dually. Now this one's not wide body, but if you are looking at something this size, I mean the North Points are pretty big fifth wheels. I would just venture to say just jump to a dually truck.
Well, hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. Be sure to check out Larry H. Miller here in Sandy. They do have this truck available, and let them know you saw the video too if you do decide you want to purchase from them. Thank you.